All right, this is the host of the show with no name, along with Jeff, the guy who introduced me to Free the anime. I guess we're gonna call this, I don't know, second opinion corner or something. And we're gonna talk about the Free show, which both of us are very passionate about. We both really love the show, but we have some very, very different ideas, especially concerning Haru's character.
Well, first and foremost, I want to say that I can't believe you don't like the music at the beginning and the end, because that's one of my favorite parts of the show, and I will rock out to those songs till the day I die.
I just feel like the opening theme gives the impression that the show is so much more dramatic than it is, and the closing theme makes it just pushes it right into Earth cute guy Earth Defense Club love or whatever that show's called territory.
I don't know what show you're watching. This is pretty dramatic.
It
Especially towards
is.
the end.
Wait, Earth Club Defense whatever
No, free.
Oh,
We're
okay.
talking about free.
No, I'm talking about the closing theme.
The closing theme is pretty cool. I love it.
It's just it comes from the imagination of kids drawing stuff, and it really shows.
No, but like, what about the first season where they were all in the desert? That was fun.
Pretty much anything in first season, I think it's decent. Second season, that's some of the best TV I've ever seen.
All right. Sure.
Well, I guess that the elephant in the room for both of us is Haru's character. Now, why don't you start with your piece on him?
I just think you bashed him really hard, and I don't think it was necessary. Because Haru is a lot more complex of a character than I think you give him credit for. And I think that he represents so much more than you think he does. And it's kind of what makes the show so real, in a way. Because you say like Haru is this flat, one-dimensional type of guy, and I think he's so much more than that. And I think that he's a lot deeper, because he represents like a part of life that we all have to go through. That part of life where you've reached the end of like high school and you have your entire life ahead of you, and you have to think about what you're going to do, how you're going to do it, and it's really scary. I mean, I am second year in college, and I still don't know what I want to do with my life. You're about to go into college, and it's hard to think about.
I know, but the thing about Haru's character for me is that it's a lot of tell and not enough show. It's a lot of other people telling us about what Haru's going through, or people making assumptions about what Haru's going through. And with a character like Rin or Sosuke, you see what they're going through. You see the development of their character, and I feel like a lot of Haru's supposed complexity is based off of assumptions.
Well, for some people aren't very open about their feelings, so sometimes the best that you can get about their inner feelings and thoughts is what other people around them think that they're going through. Because you have Makoto, who knows him so well. Makoto can kind of understand what's going on, and sometimes that's going to be the best that anyone has to know what's going on in Haru's mind. But I don't know,
It just feels like to me it doesn't warrant all the weight that all the characters around him are giving him, because when I remember at the very beginning of the show in season 1, they're talking so much about Rin's journey and like what he's going through, and they want to save him. It's like you get to see every step of like every wall that he hit, every obstacle he faced, and how he feels about that. And Haru is just like, it feels like it's like you compare the problems that people have. Spoilers. Sosuke, his problem is that he has a dream and then he's stopped from getting it. It's like Rin, like he has a dream and he's trying to figure out how to get there. Haru, his thing is trying to get the desire to have that dream at all. And I really feel like that doesn't pay off having to put up with Haru stuff for a whole series.
No, I disagree. Haru's point is a human tendency to not like change, and he's really happy. Like, even though he doesn't show it all as much as other people might, he's still very happy with the way things are at the end of season 1.
I can tell.
So he sees what's going on in season 1. He likes it. He wants it to stay like that forever. And then as season 2 progresses, he's slowly coming to terms with the fact that it's not going to stay that way forever, and things are going to start changing around him, and he's not a fan of that. until he reaches the point where that fact is right in front of him, and then that's when he totally breaks out.
I know, but I feel like the main character, he shouldn't have been the main character. Because I really don't think that the main character should have the story arc of learning how to be a human being. It's just like, Haru, I guess, represents that part of teenagers that just annoys me. Because it's a lot of he's so complex, he's so deep, thinking it's like, you don't get him. I get him. I just don't like him. I don't find him interesting. He's not to the level of someone like Sosuke or Rin, because it's just like, and then there's the friend thing. It's just, I feel like the friendships Haru has, they're such strong, like, committed friends. And I don't get it. I don't buy it. Because, like, you don't see how Rin and Sosuke met, but you can see them bonding naturally. They work off each other very well. But then you see someone like Makoto, who's so caring and nice and open, and you got someone like Haru. It's like, I don't know where that started. It seems very circumstantial to me.
I think that just simply stems from the fact that you are not very good at dealing with people who are like Haru in real life. And
guilty.
So, and you've had problems with people before, growing up, that are kind of like Haru, because they don't help you figure out, they don't help you help themselves, kind of thing. Like, so I think that's really just more of an extension of your personal experiences onto Haru. What I've noticed about Haru is just that everyone, if they let themselves, could connect to Haru really easily, because I don't really see him as much as like a person, as a representation of an idea. And I think it's the evolution of that idea and how everyone deals with this problem. And that's what the characters are about. You see Rin go through hardship to reach happiness in the end, and you see Sosuke go through hardship and learn to let go of a lost dream, and you see Makoto learn what he wants to do, and you see Nagisa grow as a person, and you see all of these people grow around Haru, and then Haru eventually in the very, very end finally gets it, and I think it's really good.
Okay. We'll drop the heart now. It's time to put you on the spot. Why did you say that Rin was one of your least favorite characters of the show?
Probably due to the fact that Season 1 Rin,
I really
I don't like people like Season 1 Rin. In real life, I have the hardest time dealing with people like Season 1 Rin.
But I feel like Rin's the one who's doing things. Rin's the one that's trying, and I don't mind Season 1 Rin at all, because we see where all of this is coming from.
I just think he's very mean-spirited in the first season, and I think he needs to take, like, all the chill pills, and he just needs to calm down.
I know, but there are some moments of real humanity in Season 1 Rin. So he has some really sweet moments with Go, he has some really sweet moments with Nitori. It's just like, Rin, that's what I feel like was a really developed story arc. Rin from Season 1, discovering, like, why he, like, first discovering what those chains, why he has chains, and how to get rid of them. And I feel like that's a really good story arc when you consider, like, just compare, like, the epic chokes that both Rin and Haru did. It's like, Rin's was him just trying his such hardest and putting everything and falling short. Haru's is going halfway and then giving up.
I don't agree with that entirely. I think Rin's little pockets of humanity were still overpowered by his very harsh, just anger. And it made, I could understand the anger, but I also have a hard time dealing with people who just try their hardest and hardest just to stay angry, because they don't know what to do once they stop being angry. And as for when they did choke in their respective races, I think that Haru's was not really giving up, it was hitting that wall, because that was one of the points where he hit the wall of, this is where the rest of my life starts. And he didn't want to be a performing monkey to all of the people, as you saw in, like, the nightmares that he had before it, and he didn't want that, and he felt like he was being pushed toward that at, like, 100 miles an hour, and he didn't want to go there. And so he couldn't deal with it, so he just shut down.
Well, I feel like one of the reasons why I can relate so much to season one Rin is that we have gone through similar things. Stuff where like he feels like he's getting punished for caring so much, or that he's trying his hardest and he feels like he's the only one under scrutiny, and he's like he's lost, he's confused, he's miserable, and everybody else around him just seems to have it figured out. And Haru, in his mind, I would say, is the manifestation of that. Because Haru never seems to have to try. It's like he went over to Australia. He like spent 3 years of his life in a country he didn't know, fighting for his dream, and then he came back and Haru was able to beat him without trying. And that just broke his heart because his dream means so much to him. It's just like he's like I feel like watching Haru just makes me think of people who have stuff handed to them. And then you see Rin trying to work so hard and he faces people turning him down, like obstacles in his face, and it's making him so angry because he wants this dream so much. And then when he figures out to find peace in himself in season 2, he becomes the best character on the show because once we see the journey that he's made, the result is so satisfying.
You see the journey that Haru makes. You don't see it like from the very beginning, but you definitely, with all the screen time Haru has, you definitely see his journey very clearly.
I personally, like, apparently he disagrees. I personally think that the friendship between Rin and Sosuke is the best story arc on the entire show, hands down, because it's like both of the characters are so developed. Like they do really good contrast of each other. It's like the first impression you always get from Sosuke is cold and calculating, which is a very good contrast from the hot-headed and emotional Rin, and they work off each other that way. And I feel like it's like Rin, it's like he has those people to confide in, and the entire time he's trying to fix his problems. Haru, his story arc is getting to notice his problems.
Oh, I'm sure Haru notices, but either he's not strong enough or he doesn't want to fix them, and that's really because like people go through that. A lot of people go through that. Like it's easy to notice that that there's something wrong, but it's much harder to do something about it, especially when you're the only one that can do something about it. Because like no matter how hard Makoto and Nagisa and Rei and Rin and Sosuke or anyone else tried to help Haru, if Haru wasn't willing to accept help, nothing was going to get done. And so that's really the issue with Haru, is that he needs to learn to care enough to fix his own problems.
I know, but it's like that's a really good point, and I do agree with most of what you said. But I just don't think that's interesting enough to warrant being a main character in the entire story arc for the second season.
I disagree.
All right, well, let's talk. Why do you love Momotaro so much?
Momotaro is just really funny. I just like Momo is like. It got really serious for a while. With like the end of season 1 and then beginning of season 2, everyone was really like serious, swim, and then Momo comes in and just kind of like really just messes with the dynamic, and I really enjoyed it. He was just very real, I think, because the other characters started to get very character-y in a way, like it felt very TV show-ish. And then Momo comes in and just acts like a normal human being.
Well, actually, I kind of almost think a bit of the opposite. Like, I thought that Momo was funny, but it's like he started out as like a raging d-bag, but then he turns into a raging d-bag with a song in his heart. And I thought, I guess I'll take what I can get. However, I really do think that like because of that, you get to see a little bit more to Rin's character, because him constantly stopping him from Momo from hitting on his sister. It's like there's a lot of really sweet moments between Rin and Go.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think about some of the things, like, I really did like, the contrast between, like, I really like the way that Sosuke treated Haru, because I think he would have treated him the way that I would have done it. I'm serious, like, it was so satisfying just to see him sing. It was like, you have talent, you need to act on it. Take a step forward, or else it's gonna fall away from you.
Sosuke, I didn't dislike Sosuke. But Sosuke is a very odd character for me. When people talk bad about Sosuke, I want to defend him. And then when people talk nice about Sosuke, I want to, like, say, no, Sosuke's not all that. It's a very odd character for me. I think that he's a little harsh, especially in regards to defending Rin from these perceived or actual threats that he sees. And
Well, you see where that comes from.
I do see where it comes from. It's just a little much, I think, in my opinion, because it just seems a little it's just a lot, I think, for me.
I just feel like Rin and Haru are kind of like on opposite ends of the spectrum to the problems that you face in being a teenager. One of them is caring so much and acting out and trying your hardest at everything, even if it means pushing other people away. And Haru is doing the exact opposite. It's shutting down. It's running away. And I feel like that might be why when somebody who really really likes Rin wouldn't really like Haru and vice versa.
I think they're both important characters, but neither of them are my favorite.
Yeah, his favorite is Makoto.
Makoto.
He's like a teddy bear.
Love Makoto. But like both Rin and Haru are necessary because it really shows you the two types of people in the world. It shows you the people that deal with adversity through anger and acting out, and it shows you people who deal with adversity by shutting down. And in the end, you see both of them fixed because the show is about broken people learning how to not be broken anymore. And the first season shows Rin starting out broken and ending up whole again. And then the second season is about Haru being broken and then becoming whole again. And it's a very powerful storyline. I like it.
Well, I feel like when episode 10 of season 2 rolled around and we saw everything that Samizuka's team has been doing building up to that moment, that was such an inspiring moment, like thing to watch for me. And then you watched what happened right in the previous episode with Haru. I'm thinking like I'm not connecting with this, even though
What happened in episode 10?
episode 10 was the one where they did the relay at regionals. And the one where his shoulder turned purple, and then it showed Sasuke and Rin growing up together.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that probably ties with season 2 episode 4 as my favorite episode of the entire show. And which is the one where they talk about episode 4 is the one where they talk about the promise they made when they were a kid, and where they're talking about what the relay means to Rin and how Sasuke wants it to mean the same to him.
I just can't believe you have the episode numbers memorized.
I've seen season 2 so many times. You have no idea.
Apparently. I don't really see, are you trying to make a comparison that the relationship Rin and Sasuke has is better than the one Haru and Makoto have?
Absolutely. Because it's just the characters work off each other and you can see them bonding naturally, and the way they talk, it just works. And but the relationship between Makoto and Haru is very one-sided. Makoto's the only one that's actually trying.
I disagree.
It's just Haru.
No,
I'm not going to say Haru is a terrible person. He's obviously not. He does care about his friends, but it just seems more like him going through the motions the entire time.
I would disagree, mostly because all throughout season 1 and through the first half of season 2, you see these little pockets of Haru showing that he does care. Because when Go said that she signed everyone up for the relay, and everyone was like, "Oh, Haru's not going to want to do it. We might as well just give up." And then Haru listened to the message, and you could see it in his face that he was genuinely touched that everyone cared enough to try to find him at that hour and do that. And then you see when Rei is getting a little upset because everyone keeps talking about Rin, the only one that really notices that without it ever being explicitly stated is Haru. He sees that Rei is upset, and he kind of knows why already, and then he wants to figure out how to make everything meld, past and present, meld together. And then when they're on their way to regionals at the end of the first season, they're in a shop or something, and Rin is smiling because all of his friends are around him having a good time. And it's these little moments, because sometimes there are people out there that just don't show a lot of emotion, and that's the best you can get out of them. So people who are friends with those people learn that that's what you get, and if you get these little moments of emotion, it's good. And then they'll go back to being how they always are, because people are people. And that's just how he works.
Didn't you really like the Australia episode?
I hated the Australia episode.
Is it just because Rin's speaking English?
No, because not only was Rin's, like, to be fair,
It's better than Sonkyo.
Sonkyo. No, but like, to be fair, if Rin was born speaking Japanese, he did not learn English until he was probably, what was it, 6th grade? So 11, 10, 11 years old. It's very good for a native speaker of Japanese learning English in 3 years. Like, it's just, the accent was funny. I laughed. But
it's a hot to hell.
Yes, but what really got me about that episode was not Rin and his English, because it's understandable why his English is not, perfect. The actual Australians in the show scared me.
Why?
Their faces, like, and I don't know if this was...
I noticed, they all look the same. They're so pale, and a good, 60% of them are blonde. It's hilarious.
No. Because, their faces were drawn differently. They were more boxy, and they were a little larger, and their eyes were... There's something up with their eyes and their mouths, and their voices didn't sound really real.
No, it sounded like they got Australian people to voice them.
I mean, maybe they did, but it was so jarring. It made them seem and look like they were not
people.
Maybe, or just not the same people as, the people that you saw back in Japan. And it was just very jarring.
Well, what about the actual content of the episode, the characters and the story arcs?
I think it's funny that this animation company decided to name the foster parents Russell and Lori.
Why?
Because L and R is a very hard consonant in Japanese for Japanese speakers to get. So it's Russell and Rory, and it was just, they knew that was going to happen, and they did it anyway. And I mean, good job for them. I mean, whatever, but it's just it's funny.
The guy who voiced Rin is a very huge celebrity in Japan. He voiced Light from Death Note. I feel like if there's anybody who had some experience speaking English and having a lot of fans from abroad, it would probably be him, and I think he did okay.
No, I mean, this isn't about Rin's English accent. I mean, he did fine. It's not like he had... It's not like he couldn't speak English. He could obviously speak English very well. And that's not my issue. My issue was more with how different the Australians were and how scary. Because, have you ever watched Attack on Titan?
No.
To be really honest, sometimes the Australians reminded me of the Titans. Just because in the facial... And anyone who's watched Attack on Titan...
If you guys get this, you'll probably know where he's coming from. I don't. But, I feel like it's a funny thing about something... I think it really does say a lot, where, they went into the Australia episode trying to make a Haru episode, and they ended up making a Rin episode.
I think it was a growth episode. Both you see Rin's growth that had already happened, and you see Haru's growth that's happening right now.
Well, when you see the moment of truth, it's like Rin when he got to swim that relay with friends and seeing those sights. Haru's turning point is he sees a pool.
Sometimes that's all it takes. He's you keep faulting him for being Haru, and I think that's why I'm having such an issue.
I guess my problem with Haru is Haru, and it's just I feel like he's great. He's good side character material. Remember Koji from Digimon Frontier? Once he actually starts to become indoctrinated into the group, he's still kind of pushed back and left off. And then you get that, and then when he gets the character with what was the name? Koichi, I think it was?
Koichi was his
brother,
Koichi,
yeah. It's them working off each other. That was brilliant writing. It's the way that they worked. I feel like there should have been more moments with Haru that in Free. I feel it does have a certain character stereotype, but I feel like in the meantime they could have given us a little bit more. It's just
I think you're asking for too much.
Well, the show has set the bar extremely high for character writing. I think we can both agree with that.
They had very good characters in this show.
I really liked I really loved the content of the Australia episode.
It was just so jarring watching it for the first time, because it was the Australia episode just was so weird, and it did a good job at portraying the sheer foreignness of another country, if that makes any sense, because going somewhere that isn't what you're used to is jarring like
For
that.
once, things were actually a lot easier for the English-speaking people watching it than the Japanese people.
It made me cringe. But, like, it did a very good job at portraying how foreign it was to Rin and Haru. And I think that is a really good job. And I appreciated that they put so much effort into it. My personal little qualms about how the Australians were drawn, just a little much. But
They said, do Australian people really say mate that much? If any people are watching from Australia, please let me know, because they say mate so much. It's kind of weird.
I don't know.
Okay, well, anything else you want to talk about?
I just really like the show.
Yeah, I love the show. It's like season 2 of Free is some of the best television I've ever seen in my life. I really loved it, and I think that's mostly like it's like the Rin and Sosuke thing. That was what drawed me in.
Sosuke, I don't really care about Sosuke.
Was Makoto the thing that drawed you into the show?
Makoto is just he's just so much there. Like, he is the type of person that I could only dream of trying to be like. He's so caring and he's so kind, and he wants nothing more than the happiness of other people. And that is what brings him happiness. And it breaks his heart that Haru was having so much trouble, and it's just the kindness and compassion and the selflessness and just the amazing character that he is just, it's awe-inspiringly incredible. I love Makoto.
Well, the things you say, I could pretty much say the pretty exact same thing about season 2 Rin.
No.
No.
No. Season 2 Rin, I think,
It's sort of like an apology for season 1 Rin?
No. Well, no. I think season 2 Rin acts the way he does because it's like someone who's been through hardship and then sees other people going through a similar thing. So you know what it's like, so you want to help them, and you know kind of how to help them. So I definitely like season 2 Rin so much better. But
Bitch Baby from season 1.
But it doesn't make up for Bitch Baby season 1 Rin, unfortunately. But Makoto's just like that all the time.
Yeah.
And he's been like that since they were children. You see the scene with where they grab the little charms. They both reached for the dolphin, and he goes, "Nah, bro, you can have the dolphin. I'll take like the clownfish or whatever." And it's just he always cares about other people.
And it's like the entire time, it's like Makoto's the one trying so hard to help out Haru, and I feel like Haru was just, I wouldn't have done that. I guess that's something that separates me from Makoto, is that like I would have given up on Haru because I felt like he wasn't giving me anything to work with.
I feel like they've been friends for too long for him to ever give up.
I really wanted to see the day that they met.
It was probably so long ago that it wasn't much of a scene.
Well, there had to be something.
Well, it's like one of those kids that, like, your families have been friends for years. You probably met in, like, daycare when you were babies, and you always grew up together. I'm sure that's basically it, because if there was anything substantial about their first meeting, they would have shown it.
Well, I feel like it's it just, they don't really strike me as two people that will bond naturally, and I know you disagree with that. Well, one thing to take away from this, I guess, is that we both really recommend watching this show. It's really good.
It's a good show. It helps you think really more about life and how to deal with different types of people.
Yeah, it's like I found this show really inspiring because like at the end of last year, season 1 Rin was pretty much me. I was mad at the world. Don't laugh. This is a serious moment. Okay.
I remember.
A lot of you guys remember because you were there. Yeah, it's like, and seeing myself in Rin, and then seeing the person that he becomes in season 2, that inspired me.
So I think the real question now is, are you going to watch Full Metal Alchemist?
Absolutely. Spring break is coming up. I'm probably going to binge watch like 5 different ones.
Yes.
Well, I guess we'll see you guys next water time. That's the dumbest thing ever. I hated that.
No, but do you realize why that is, though?
Is that just a botched translation?
No, I mean, I don't know about that, but it definitely is a pun, because in Japanese, the word for Wednesday has the character for water in it.
Did it come out on Wednesdays?
Yeah, came out on Wednesdays in Japan. So water day, water time. That's at least how I think of it.
Well, okay. One last thing I want to say, because this is actually getting on pretty long. One thing I really do admire is that there's not one single romantic subplot in the entire show, and they just deal with friendships. And I really feel like that's like going in. I know that that's like very like you can make a lot of great stuff about it, but just dealing with friendships. That's not something that you really see like analyzed to such a degree in show. It's a very adult show, actually. Like it's like a lot of people go into it just expecting to see some shirtless guys, but like it's so much more than that. And we both really recommend it. Bye.
Bye.